Every single day, without realizing it, you are programming the path of your life. Not with complicated codes or machines, but with the simple words that leave your mouth. The phrase "I am" is not casual. It is a command sent directly into what scientists call the quantum field, shaping how your mind and reality respond. Say "I am tired," and your brain, along with everything around you, records and mirrors that exact state. This is not poetry. It is a phenomenon supported by the observer effect, showing that perception alone can change the outcome of an experiment. Imagine you have been playing a game your entire life without knowing the rules. That game is your unconscious reality. Every thought and statement has been sculpting your circumstances while you thought it was just harmless talk. Right now, your career, relationships, health, and sense of purpose might all be tangled in patterns you didn't consciously choose. You might wonder why progress feels slow, why the same challenges keep returning, or why you can't seem to break free from a certain cycle. In New York, a business owner spent years saying, "I am not good with technology." His company lagged behind until one day he began saying, "I am learning technology every day." A year later, he launched a successful app. The difference was not luck. It was the code he was feeding into his mind and environment. If you have ever caught yourself declaring something negative about who you are, that moment was not harmless. It was a signal to everything around you to make it real. This is why your current reality feels heavy or stuck. You have been programming it with commands that do not serve you. In this journey, you will discover how to spot those invisible loops, replace the code, and finally align with the life you want. But first, there's a crucial question you must face, one that will open the door to everything that follows. What if the very words you have been using are the chains holding you back? And how can you break free from them forever? The secret is not in the first action you take, but in changing the source code you are broadcasting every single day. Before you rush into another new habit or force yourself into another exhausting push for progress, you need to understand that your reality is not shaped primarily by the volume of your actions, but by the identity you declare with your words. Every time you use the phrase "I am," you are issuing a command that your subconscious mind stores as truth, and it will defend that truth with everything it has, whether it benefits you or not. This is why identifying the harmful "I am" statements you repeat is the very first step to breaking the cycle. You might tell yourself, "I am unlucky," or "I am not good at this," and think it is just self-description. But in reality, you are installing a program that runs quietly in the background of every decision you make. To disrupt this, you must replace those commands with a neutral yet forward-moving form. Instead of declaring "I am not confident," try saying "I am building my confidence every day." Instead of "I am always late," say "I am learning to arrive on time." This subtle shift bypasses the resistance of your subconscious, which often rejects sudden, extreme changes. Neuroscience supports this approach. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work on neuroplasticity shows that the brain rewires itself when you think and feel in alignment with a new identity. And over time, those connections become stronger and more automatic. A powerful example comes from a Texas athlete who used to say, "I am always injured." His career was slowing down until he replaced that statement with, "I am recovering stronger every day." Within 8 months, his body and performance aligned with the new identity, and he won a major medal. The words you choose are not empty expressions. They are the operating system for your life. When you consciously rewrite them, you are not pretending to be someone you are not. You are choosing to lead your mind toward who you want to become. This shift is the foundation for sustainable change because it works with your subconscious instead of against it. Now it is your turn to test this. Choose one limiting "I am" statement you have been repeating and transform it into an "I am becoming" or "I am doing" version that supports your growth. Share it as a declaration to anchor the new code in your awareness. This small action will start broadcasting a signal that begins to alter how life responds to you. But you may wonder, if the current reality feels completely different from what you desire, how can you make these changes feel real enough for them to work? The present moment is not a life sentence. It is only a copy of the old signals you have sent out before. What you are experiencing right now is not the final truth. It is simply data created by past thoughts, beliefs, and declarations. This is what I call old data, the visible result of the I am statements you made days, months, or even years ago. If you keep identifying with that outdated version of yourself, you keep feeding the same program, and the results will continue to match the past instead of the future you want. The key is to understand that your external world is a delayed reflection of your internal frequency. Change that frequency inside, and the outside will eventually align. Science supports this. Dr. Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics shows that the environment of your beliefs can alter genetic expression within just 8 hours. That means the way you think and feel can literally shift the biology of your body and the quality of your life far faster than most people realize. Imagine carrying a radio tuned to an old station playing the same tired songs. No matter how much you wish for something different, you will not hear it until you switch the dial. Your reality works the same way. A powerful example comes from a single mother in Chicago who spent years saying, "I never have enough money." This was her station, and life delivered exactly what she was broadcasting. When she learned to reprogram her thinking, replacing that identity with "I am creating more opportunities every day," her frequency changed. Within 2 years, she opened her own bakery, transforming both her income and her confidence. This shift did not happen by chance. It happened because she stopped letting old data define her. If you want a new reality, you must decide which outdated beliefs, labels, and declarations you are ready to leave behind. It could be about your abilities, your relationships, your health, or your worth. Recognize them, thank them for bringing you this far, and then release them so you can create space for something new to emerge. Right now, you have the power to start sending out signals that match the life you actually desire, not the life you have outgrown. If you are ready, choose one piece of old data you no longer want to carry and declare it gone. This is how you begin to open the path to a different version of yourself. But then comes the question that will shape the next step. How can you align your inner state with the life you dream of living? You are in alignment when your inner identity matches the reality you desire. This is the essence of what I call the divine state, a powerful condition where your thoughts, emotions, and actions operate as one seamless force. In this state, you are no longer chasing outcomes, you are embodying them, and the world around you begins to rearrange itself to reflect that embodiment. Think of it like a tuning fork. When you strike it at a certain frequency, any object nearby vibrating at the same frequency will resonate automatically. Your inner state works exactly the same way. When you consistently hold the frequency of the life you want through your consciousness, your feelings, and your behaviors, the environment responds without force. Scientific research from HeartMath shows that the electromagnetic field of the heart is far stronger than that of the brain, and emotions are the most potent signals you can send into that field. This means that when you feel and act from the version of yourself who already has what you seek, you create a magnetic pull that draws matching circumstances into your life. A striking example comes from an artist in Los Angeles who, long before any major opportunity appeared, spent time each day vividly imagining herself performing in front of thousands of cheering fans. She felt the lights, the sound, the rush of energy, and allowed that sensation to fill her completely. 1 year later, she stood on stage at Coachella, living exactly what she had rehearsed within her mind and heart. This is not accidental. It is alignment in action. The divine state is not about pretending or escaping reality. It is about embodying the emotional and mental state of your desired future now, so that your choices and actions naturally reflect it. When you are in this state, you make decisions that match your vision without constant struggle or hesitation. The process is simple yet profound. First, clarify the reality you want. Then, ask yourself how the version of you living that reality would think, feel, and act today. Finally, begin to live that way in every small choice, allowing the vibration of your being to stay tuned to that frequency. If you take a moment right now, close your eyes for 10 seconds and truly feel yourself already in the place you long to be. You will taste the beginning of this transformation. But then another question arises. What if your nervous system resists these changes and tries to pull you back to the familiar? The nervous system is not your enemy. It is only protecting you based on old memories. Its primary job is to keep you alive, and it does this by holding on to what is familiar, even if the familiar is keeping you stuck. When you try to step into a new identity, your body can interpret it as unsafe because it does not match the patterns it has learned over years of repetition. This is why procrastination or sudden bursts of doubt often appear just when you start making progress. It is not weakness, it is a biological safety mechanism. The challenge is that your nervous system cannot tell the difference between emotional growth and physical danger, so it reacts the same way, triggering fight, flight, or freeze responses. The key to overcoming this resistance is not to push harder, but to create consistent, small experiences that signal to your body that the new identity is safe. Each time you take a small step and survive it without harm, your nervous system updates its record, slowly replacing fear with trust. Science confirms this. Studies on nervous system retraining show that gradual exposure to new experiences allows the brain to rewire and the body to relax into change. One powerful story comes from a software developer in Seattle who had a deep fear of public speaking. For years, he avoided any situation where he might have to present. Instead of forcing himself into a huge audience right away, he began with a tiny action, speaking to his own reflection for 5 minutes a day. At first, it felt awkward and uncomfortable, but his body slowly learned there was no threat. 6 months later, he stood on stage at an international conference, speaking with confidence he had never experienced before. This is the power of incremental safety signals. If you want your nervous system to support your transformation instead of fighting it, start by identifying one action that represents your desired identity but feels slightly outside your comfort zone. Do it in a controlled, safe way and repeat it until it becomes normal. Then, choose another action and repeat the process. Each time you do this, you are sending a message to your body that it can relax and trust the change. If you think about it now, there is at least one small thing you could do today to help your body believe in your new path. Name it, act on it, and let it become the first thread in a fabric of lasting transformation. But once you start, the next challenge will be clear. What daily practice can help you remain in the divine state over the long term? That is when you turn this state into a habit through a 3-step loop. The power of the divine state does not come from a single moment of inspiration. It comes from repeating a simple process until it becomes the natural way you live. The loop is made of 3 parts, each one building on the last to keep your mind, body, and actions in alignment. Step 1 is pause. Before you react to a situation or take a decision, stop for a brief moment. In that pause, choose a new I am statement that matches the version of yourself you are becoming. This creates a conscious break from old programming and opens space for a different choice. Step 2 is feel. Do not just think about the new identity. Feel it deeply in your body. Let your breathing, your posture, and your inner tone match the version of you who is already living that reality. Neuroscience shows that when you engage your emotions, you create stronger neural pathways than with thought alone. Step 3 is act. From that emotional state, take one action that reflects the new identity. It could be a small choice or a bold move, but it must align with the version of you that you have just chosen and felt. Research by Judith Glaser has shown that actions tied to emotion create more lasting connections in the brain, making the change easier to sustain over time. A striking example comes from a sales professional in Miami who began using this loop before every client call. He would pause, declare to himself, "I am a confident problem solver." Feel the energy of that statement in his body, and then act by speaking from that place. Within 3 months, his sales increased by 200%. Not because he learned new scripts, but because he embodied a different identity during each interaction. This loop works because it bridges thought and behavior, making your inner state the driver of your results. You can start practicing it today. Before you take your next action, pause. Choose a powerful identity statement. Feel it until it changes your energy, and then act from that place. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes, and the less effort you need to maintain the divine state. Once you integrate this practice, you will notice decisions becoming easier, results arriving faster, and challenges feeling lighter. But even with a solid loop in place, there will be moments when your energy fades. So the next question is, how can you reignite your drive when motivation seems to disappear? Motivation does not naturally disappear. It is only covered by familiarity. When you repeat the same patterns, your mind and body adapt, and the initial excitement that once fueled you becomes buried under routine. This is why even powerful goals can start to feel dull over time. To reignite your energy, you must reconnect with the original reason you started. That first spark contained pure emotion, a vision that mattered enough to make you take the first step. Close your eyes and remember that moment. Recall where you were, what you felt, and why it mattered so deeply. Let that memory fill your body until the emotion becomes alive again. The brain is wired to respond strongly to purpose and research. By Daniel Pink shows that true motivation thrives when you combine a clear sense of purpose with autonomy and visible progress. Another way to shake off the weight of familiarity is to change your environment. A shift in your surroundings can instantly trigger a shift in your mental state. It could be as simple as working from a new location, surrounding yourself with different people, or altering your daily route. The change disrupts the autopilot mode that dulls your drive and gives your mind new stimuli to work with. A striking example comes from a writer in Boston who hit a creative wall while working on her novel. The words would not flow, and every day felt heavier than the last. Instead of forcing herself to keep going in the same space, she took a 1-week road trip. The change of scenery, the fresh experiences, and the sense of adventure reignited her creative fire. She returned home and finished the manuscript, which went on to become a bestseller. This is the power of breaking familiarity. If you feel your energy fading, ask yourself why you began in the first place and what small change in your surroundings could give you a new perspective. You might be surprised how quickly your enthusiasm returns when you reconnect with your core reason and give your mind a fresh canvas to work with. The drive is still there. It is just waiting for you to uncover it. So take a moment now, choose one memory of why you started, and let it fuel you again. Once you have your energy back, the next challenge will present itself. How can you face the fear of failure when stepping outside your comfort zone? Fear is not a barrier. It is proof that you are expanding your limits. The moment you step into unknown territory, your mind sends a surge of energy we label as fear. But in truth, it is the sign that growth is happening. The key is to learn how to read this signal correctly. Not all fear is the same. There is protective fear, which exists to keep you safe from genuine harm. And there is growth fear, which shows up when you are stretching into a bigger version of yourself. The challenge is that your nervous system reacts to both in a similar way, increasing your heart rate, sharpening your focus, and releasing adrenaline. What makes the difference is how you interpret it. Research from Harvard has shown that reinterpreting anxiety as excitement can improve performance significantly. Instead of telling yourself, "I am afraid," say, "I am ready," or "I am energized." This small mental shift changes the way your body processes the sensation, turning it from a reason to retreat into a source of power. A powerful example comes from a CEO of a startup in Silicon Valley who is deeply nervous about launching a new product. Investors were watching, competitors were ready to pounce, and failure could mean the end of the company. Instead of letting the fear paralyze him, he chose to see it as confirmation that he was stepping into a moment of real opportunity. He told himself that the pressure meant the work mattered. That mindset fueled his focus, sharpened his decision-making, and helped him deliver a pitch that secured $5 million in funding. Fear became his ally, not his enemy. You can do the same. The next time you feel that familiar tightening in your chest or that rush of adrenaline, pause and ask yourself if this is a sign of danger or a sign of growth. If it is the latter, lean into it. Use the energy to prepare more thoroughly, speak more clearly, or act more decisively. This transformation begins in your perception, and once you master it, fear becomes one of the most reliable tools for progress. Now, think about one fear you have right now that might actually be a marker of expansion. Decide how you will channel it into forward motion instead of letting it hold you back. And as you move through it, the next question emerges. How can you be certain that you are truly living in alignment with your highest values? You know you are on the right path when every action aligns with your core values. These values are the deepest truths that guide who you are, and when your choices consistently match them, you feel a sense of clarity and fulfillment that cannot be faked. Living this way is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent with what truly matters to you, even when it is inconvenient. The first step is to identify 3 values you will not compromise under any circumstance. They might be integrity, freedom, creativity, compassion, growth, or something unique to you. Once you know them, they become your compass. Every decision, from the smallest daily habit to the biggest life change, can be measured against them. Science backs this up. Research on values alignment has shown that people who live in accordance with their values experience higher happiness, better performance at work, and greater resilience in the face of challenges. When your inner standards and your outer actions match, you remove a huge source of internal conflict, which frees your energy for meaningful progress. One powerful example comes from a lawyer in Washington, D.C. who spent years at a prestigious firm. The pay was excellent, the recognition was high, but deep down, she valued social impact more than corporate success. The constant tension between her values and her work drained her. Eventually, she made the decision to leave and join a nonprofit organization focused on human rights. The change meant less money but more purpose, and she described feeling lighter, freer, and more motivated than ever before. This is what happens when you live in alignment with your higher self. You stop chasing approval and start building a life that feels true. To begin this process, set aside time to reflect on what principles are non-negotiable for you. Write them down and commit to using them as the lens for every important choice. The next time you face a decision, ask yourself, does this honor my core values, or does it pull me away from them? Over time, you will notice that the more your actions align, the more life flows in the direction you actually want to go. You will also notice that external success feels more satisfying because it is built on authenticity. So take a moment now to name one value that defines you and commit to living it fully. Once you have this clarity, the final step becomes possible. And the question arises, What is the ultimate declaration that seals your role as the creator of your own reality? The final step is to make a powerful declaration and live as if it is already true. This is where you seal everything you have learned and practiced by claiming your role as the architect of your life. The words you speak now are not just affirmations. They are commands to your mind and to the unseen forces that shape your reality. Saying, "I am the creator of my life," is not wishful thinking. It is a signal that sets your internal compass and directs every choice you make from this moment forward. Neuroscience explains why this works. According to Hebb's law, neurons that fire together wire together, which means the more you repeat a thought and pair it with emotion, the stronger and more automatic that identity becomes. When you declare your chosen identity daily, you carve deep neural pathways that make it easier to act in alignment with it without conscious effort. A powerful example comes from an immigrant in California who arrived with limited resources and a big vision. Every morning, he placed his hand over his heart and told himself, "I am a successful entrepreneur." At first, his reality did not match those words, but over time, his actions began to reflect them. He took bold steps, learned new skills, and built relationships from that place of certainty. 5 years later, he owned a chain of 3 thriving stores. The declaration had not only reprogrammed his mind, but had influenced the way others perceived and responded to him. This is the transformative force of identity-based living. When you say, "I am," with conviction, you are writing the code that your subconscious will run on. And when your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors follow that code, the external world adjusts to match. This is why the final step is not about doing more, but about being more of who you decide you are. If you want to lock in the new reality you have been creating, start and end each day by affirming your chosen identity with full presence. Feel it in your body, hear it in your own voice, and let it guide every decision. Right now, place your hand over your heart, take a deep breath, and say, "I am the creator of my life." Let it anchor into your mind as a truth, not just a phrase. Then go into your day acting from that truth. And if you are ready to amplify that declaration, share it aloud and let the world witness the new you.